Is Keith Thurman really coming back? We answer that next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Leave a comment below. Let us know how we're doing. Welcome to Friday's Check Hook. Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter, are they in negotiations? Well, that's according to Showtime Shawn Porter. Could happen in January, maybe March. Plus, we'll give our predictions for all this weekend's actions. But let's start with my favorite topic. Keithy Pooh himself, Keith Runtime Thurman, Keith No Time Soon Thurman. Could he really be set to return with no tune-up? He's been saying for over a year he needs a tune-up, and that 2018 was going to be his get-back year. Remember? It was going to be his get-back year. Well, he won't fight at all in 2018. And now he can hop back in after a 2-year layoff without a tune-up. I'll believe that when it happens. I'll believe that Keith Thurman's jumping in the ring with Shawn Porter when the bell rings to start the fight, not a minute sooner. Look, let's take a look at Keith Thurman's timeline first. March 2017, Keith Thurman beat Danny Garcia, unifies the WBA, WBC welterweight straps. That was the last time we saw Keith Thurman in a boxing ring, March of 2017. After that, he had a microscopic outpatient procedure on his elbow to remove loose bodies. The recovery time of such a procedure, the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons says, and I'm quoting, could be up to a few weeks, but full range of motion could be back by the next day. So this is not a surgery. He keeps saying it's an outpatient procedure, meaning you go into the doctor's office, they fix it, they do the procedure, and then you're home. It's not like what Jarrett Hurd had when he was in the hospital having his shoulder reconstructed. They go in there with like a little camera and a little needle, and they remove the loose bodies. Standard surgery according to the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons. Then, in October of 2017, Keith Thurman tells the WBC he will be back in January and will fight 3 times in 2018. January becomes February or March, but he still says he's going to fight 3 times in 2018. It's his get-back year. February or March becomes April 14th against Jesse Vargas at the Barclays Center. Signed, sealed, and delivered as per Dan Rafael and Jesse Vargas. So ESPN reported this, and Jesse Vargas said it was on too. But Thurman said he's a 2-time-a-year fighter, so he's going to fight Vargas and once more. Well, that didn't happen. That became May 5th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn against no named opponent, but as Keith said, it would be no one in the top 10 in the welterweight division. So we knew who it wasn't going to be, but we didn't know who it could be. 8 weeks before that, May 5th date, no opponent named, by the way, and no tickets on sale. So we're 8 weeks out with no opponent even rumored, and no tickets on sale. No undercard, no nothing. Keith suffers a mysterious hand injury. He later reveals as a bruised bone, and the fight is off. Well, what's the recovery time for a bruised bone? Well, the University of Rochester Medical Center says most, and I'm quoting here, most bone bruises slowly heal over 1 to 2 months. Okay, 1 to 2 months. This is in March of 2018. We're now in November. In April, the WBC strips Keith Thurman of his belt. The WBC belt that he won 13 months ago against Danny Garcia and never defended. In September of 2018, on the Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter card, during an interview at that fight, he said, Keith Thurman said he'd have some good news for the fans by the end of the month, meaning he'd have a return date and he'd have some news to share with us by month end. That was in September. We're in November now. There's been no news. However, Porter reveals rumors of a rematch next year. Do you guys still believe anything Keith Thurman says? I feel like he's pathological. Look, I may believe Shawn Porter that they have been negotiating, that there have been negotiations, that they've sat and talked. Could very well all be true. But just like that girl that doesn't want to go out with you, who's just really nice, and says, "Oh, and you call her, and she says, "Oh, I can't go out with you this weekend, or next weekend's busy too. The weekend after, I'm all booked up. How about I just call you when my schedule gets free, and then we can go out then." You know what I'm talking about? No? Well, uh, well, let me get. She's not calling you. She's not going out with you. She's not into you. There will be no date with Shawn Porter. Keith Thurman ain't getting in the ring with Shawn Porter. He's not interested in fighting Shawn Porter. He's not interested in fighting at all. He will not call you back. There will not be a fight. And I will not believe that there's a fight with Keith Thurman and anyone until Keith Thurman steps in the ring. Keith Thurman said over a year ago that it's been such a long layoff, but he always takes a year off, that he needs a tune-up fight. Well, that was over a year ago, and now all of a sudden he doesn't need a tune-up fight? Look, this fight's not going to happen. If you think this fight's going to happen, you're like that girl at home that says, "This time my boyfriend's not going to cheat on me. This time he promised he's not going to cheat on me. This time he said, no, he's lying to you. He's going to cheat on you again." Keith Thurman isn't going to fight. He's not going to fight Shawn Porter. He's not going to fight anyone. He just likes being in the headline, and he doesn't want the WBA to take his belt, so he says he's going to do all these things. He could have kept his WBC, but they said he had to fight Shawn Porter. And he said, "I'm not fighting Shawn Porter." That's true. You can look that up. WBC told me he had to fight Porter and Garcia, and this is last April. I mean, it's this April, and he said, "No, I can't do that." Okay, so he gave up his belt, the WBC belt, instead of fighting Shawn Porter, and now he's got to fight Shawn Porter, right? But he's not going to fight Shawn Porter. We know that. So where does he go? Look, if he was willing to have the WBC take his belt as opposed to fighting Shawn Porter and then Danny Garcia, he's not going to fight him now. He said he needed a tune-up 6 months ago. You know, let's say this fight was made for January. I can't see it being made any earlier than March for a couple of reasons, and we'll get into that next. But that would be a full 2 years off. If he needed a tune-up and gave up his belt because he needed a tune-up, well, then he needs a tune-up now. So, you understand what I'm saying? He's not getting in the ring. He's lying to you, as he's lied every other time. As he lied to the WBC back October of last year. As he lied about, he said a procedure that the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons that takes a couple of weeks, 2 weeks to recover from. He's been out for 2 years. I mean, do you believe him? You got to be nuts to believe. And then a fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Well, Canelo and Triple G were slated to fight each other. He was going to fight that weekend at the Barclays. No, he wasn't, because no one would have watched it, because Canelo was already, that fight didn't happen because Canelo failed the drug test, but at that time, that fight was scheduled to happen, right? And Keith Thurman was going to fight the same weekend? No, he wasn't. That fight was never going to happen. He didn't bruise his hand. That was the excuse he needed to make to pull out of the fight. Let's be real. Keith Thurman ain't fighting Shawn Porter. He ain't fighting nobody. Keith Thurman fights once a year. And he's fought twice in over 3 years. So he doesn't even fight once a year. It's not one time a year, Thurman. It's once every 2 years, Thurman. By the time he gets in the ring again, he's going to have fought twice in 4 years. Get this guy away from me. I don't know if he's ever going to fight again. The WBA needs to strip him. Listen to me. World Boxing Association. Listen closely. Listen closely. Strip Keith Thurman. Strip Keith Thurman. Elevate Manny Pacquiao. And just tell Keith Thurman, see you later. Or you know what? Or fight him. Two choices. You can fight Manny Pacquiao by February, which he's already signed to fight Broner. So just, make that for Keith Thurman's super belt and get rid of Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman never beat anyone to win that belt anyway. How is Keith Thurman a super champion? Who did he beat? He didn't beat anyone. Floyd Mayweather retired, and that's how he was elevated. It's time to just move on. If Keith Thurman doesn't want to fight, he should just come out and say that. Tim Bradley said it. Andre Ward said it. No one was mad at them. Those are two of my favorite fighters ever. Those are two loved boxers. Those are two guys that the general boxing audience loved. They both walked away in their prime. Keith Thurman, you want to walk away in your prime? Go ahead. No one's going to be mad at you. You have a life. Apparently you made money in real estate. You've done a lot of things. Just go away then. You want to go enjoy your wife? Go have some kids? Go do that. But just get away from all of us. And just say, I'm going to retire now. I don't want to get my brain beaten in anymore. I made enough money. I did this to provide for my family, and I can do that now, and I never have to fight again. Bye, Keith. Have a great life. No one's mad at you. But he can't do that because he's got this ego issue where he's got to be in the news all the time. He's like, I'm the number one welterweight. You're not active. You don't fight anyone. You haven't fought in 2 years. How are you the number one welterweight? Floyd Mayweather's fought more recently than you have. Get out of here. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. If you think this fight's going to happen or not. Is Keith Thurman just stringing us along again, or do you think that this could really happen? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Let's get into the Fight Doctor mode. 3 fights to get into. I think they're all good action fights. I think they're all contested. I don't think that any of these fights are easy fights. I don't think any of them are really one-sided. I think that there's going to be good action in all 3 of these fights I'm going to get into. However, I don't think there's any possible upsets. Let's start with Miguel Berchelt and Miguel Roman. They're going to trade aggressively early. Early on, the first 3-4 rounds, this is going to be a little war. But the competitiveness starts to wear off, and it becomes one-sided as the younger, stronger, faster Berchelt starts to wear him down. It becomes a one-sided beatdown after round 6 or 7. And I think Berchelt scores a TKO probably in the 9th round. And the beating becomes pretty brutal round 7, 8, and 9. It's fairly competitive for the first 4. Really competitive. Great action fight for the first 4 rounds. Then after that, 5, 6, you start to see, the tempo of the fight change, where Berchelt starts to put a beating on him. And I think by the 8th, 9th round, it becomes a bloodbath, and Roman is taken out. But neither one of these guys are ever in a boring fight, so this should be an entertaining scrap. Josh Taylor and Ryan Martin. This is a good fight. Look, both guys are athletic. Both guys are very talented, very fundamentally sound. Ryan Martin may not be known to a lot of you. He had some promotional issues. He was signed with 50 Cent SMS Promotions, and that no longer exists. You guys know the issues with that. But he likes to attack. I think he will win some rounds early. He throws a real crisp, clean jab right hand. He attacks, he stalks with it. His basics are real. I mean, he's basic, but his basics are real good. He's pretty athletic, pretty quick. He can win rounds with that jab. He's got the shotgun jab that he likes to stick out there. But eventually, Taylor will figure him out and break him down. I think Taylor begins to outbox him in the middle rounds, makes him miss a lot. I think the fight will be competitive. I think it'll be a boxing match. I don't think you're going to see a knockout in this fight. I think it's really competitive for the first 5 or 6 rounds. Probably 3 rounds, 3, something like that after 6. And then after that, I think Taylor just steps up, figures him out, and gives him a boxing lesson and sweeps the second half of the fight. So I expect Martin to win, 3 rounds. Let's say the scorecards are 117 to 111, but it's very close for the first 6 rounds. And then Taylor sweeps the last 5, 6 rounds of that fight. The last fight I want to get into, Ryan Burnett and Nonito Donaire. I think this is the best fight of the night. I'm into this one. I really am. I think Donaire will do well and land some big, clean shots. I think the 118-pound weight class, the bantamweight division, is a good fit for Nonito. He never really carried up well through 122 and definitely not 126, but at 18 he was a killer. And I think you're going to see some of that. I think you're going to see him land on Burnett because it's not Burnett's good, but it's not impossible to land on him by any means. I think you're going to see Donaire land some big shots, get him in some trouble early, but I think he'll fade. He is 36 now, I believe, Donaire, 35, 36. He's not a young kid anymore. Again, he's been fighting at 126. Now he's going to be coming all the way down to 118, which he hasn't fought in 9 years or something like that. So I think he will fade. I think he will fatigue and tire in the second half of the fight, and then Burnett's going to take over. Burnett's going to make a miss. He's going to nail him with that left hook that he likes to fire. He's going to move around a lot and just drain Donaire, fatigue him, and then just make target practice out of him down the stretch. I do think the fight will be competitive. I think it's a type of fight where you might see both guys on the floor. I'm serious about that. I think Donaire is going to do well early on. I think he's a good weight class. I just think Burnett is a pound-for-pound elite right now. I have him on my pound-for-pound list at number 10. I think Burnett's that good. And if this was a different fight, if Donaire was fighting maybe someone else in the tournament, I might be able to pick him. But I can't pick him against Burnett. He'll jab and move and counter with that left hook the second half of the fight and win all the rounds. But I expect this fight to be competitive. I don't think that Burnett picked the right guy when he picked Donaire. I really don't. I think he watched him at 26 against Frampton, but he's not fighting at 26. He's fighting at 18, and he's dangerous at that division. But I think Burnett gets the job done because I think Burnett's that good. So I'm going to take Burnett by a wide, unanimous decision. Again, I don't want to give a score because there could be knockdowns, and I think there will be knockdowns in this fight. But I take Burnett by wide, unanimous decision. So just to recap, I take Burchelt by 9th round TKO. I take Taylor to take unanimous decision, about 117, 111, something like that on the scorecards. And I take Burnett to win a very competitive fight, a surprisingly competitive fight against Donaire, where he's in trouble early, but then comes back and sweeps the late rounds and wins a tough decision. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. For Friday's Check Hook, this is 3D Boxing, signing off, saying thank you, and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.